Joining me now is Executive Vice President of the Trump Organization, Eric Trump, Big E. Eric, good to talk to you, my man. So your lawyers, your dad's lawyers, have been meeting with Jack Smith, the special counsel. Are we going to see yet another indictment this week of your father?
You know what, Eric, it's a very sad thing. You know, I don't know what to expect from these people. They've weaponized the system so badly. It's so crooked. It's so corrupt. You see people's wives. You see the platforms they take. You see the way they've weaponized systems in New York and in all these various states. You see what they did in Georgia, right? I mean, they are hell-bent on taking down Donald Trump no matter, you know, what he hasn't done. It doesn't matter. They're willing to fabricate anything. We saw it with Russia. We saw 3 years of hell. Our entire family did. That came out. That was totally debunked, but it had ruined so many lives. It cost hundreds of millions of dollars. It was legal fee after legal fee. We didn't even get an apology from anybody until, you know, I mean, obviously the Durham report came out and really spoke to the true corruption. And then what do they do? After all of that, after torturing somebody for 3 years unjustly, they raid a person's house and they go through, you know, their young son's room and they go through Melania's closets and they go through everything else. And they have, you know, 30 FBI agents that storm into Mar-a-Lago and they go through that and they put them through hell again. And then they conjure up investigations in New York and they conjure up and weaponize district attorneys and attorney generals all over the place. I mean, they are hell-bent on taking Donald Trump out no matter how they do it. And Eric, you know, we saw this. They tried to get to my father through the executive branch and it didn't work. And now they try and come after him civilly and they try and come after him criminally. And it's part of the game and it's part of the corruption we see in this country. And the FBI is losing a lot of trust. I can tell you out there on the street every single day, people say, I no longer trust law enforcement in this nation. That's actually a very scary thing for the United States of America, who's supposed to stand for the rule of law above everything else.
I'll tell you what they don't do, this overzealous Department of Justice. You know what they don't do, Eric? They don't go after anyone named Biden. They seem to love to go after people named Trump, and they don't go after Biden. The reason why I say this is it's in the news this week that the FBI is stonewalling a House investigation into Hunter Biden by not turning over some FBI, a document, a whistleblower's document that could implicate Vice President Biden at the time, President Biden right now. For some reason, it feels like a two-tier justice system, Eric, one for Trump and one for someone named Biden or maybe anyone liberal.
And Eric, I think that's what's depressing for me, right? Listen, Hunter Biden's a screwed up kid who's got a lot of problems and everything else. God bless people with, you know, drug addiction, and we all know many of them. It's obviously something that's very close to your heart. You know, but when you look at what Biden did, Hunter Biden specifically, when you look at these shady deals, when you look at the nonsense, when you look at the fact that literally the grandchildren of Biden's are getting money from Romania, getting money from China, yet when my father was in office, hotels that we owned way prior to the presidency, they would file emoluments lawsuits against us because somebody would go up to the bar and order a martini and they say, how dare you sell a martini to a foreigner, right? So a business that we were in long before my father even contemplating getting into politics, we have to go to the Supreme Court and say, listen, it's not an emolument to sell a martini in a hotel that you had years before somebody took the presidency, somebody who's out of the company, has nothing to do with the company. But yet, you know, Haley Biden can get money from countries all over the world. I mean, well, what's wrong with that? Like,
millions.
What service are they providing?
Millions. It feels like they go after.
You've been to these hotels. You know what service I sell. We sell beds. We sell, you know, obviously great hotel rooms, great experiences. We're in the hospitality business, F&B. What service are they selling? That's what I'm wondering. No one can answer the question. But they don't look at,
no one knows.
The FBI doesn't look at them, but they go after us all day long.
That's the problem. That's the problem. I mean, look, if you want to be fair, you're supposed to be fair. Justice is supposed to be blind. You know, the little balance with the Lady Liberty or Justice has a blindfold on because it shouldn't matter who you're investigating. You want to be fair. You want to go after a Trump like that, then do the same thing to the Bidens. Or how about this? You just equal-handed across the board, Eric. Listen to Bill Barr today on CBS.
Just one other crazy example before we get off that. Look at all of you know, Joe Biden's boxes. They were at the Penn Center. They were in Chinatown. You know, it's funny. There's a leak every single day about Mar-a-Lago coming through the Washington Post. Every single day. Do you ever hear about a leak coming from the Biden side? You never hear about a leak. And you know why? Because they don't even bother. They don't take the time. It's not real journalism. They don't go after them. And there are no leaks. They want to leak it to damage one person. They don't want to leak anything on the other side if they're even taking the other side seriously.
Yeah, let's take a listen to Bill Barr today on CBS.
If I had to bet, I would bet that it's near.
You believe there is enough evidence?
Well, they won't indict if there's not enough evidence, but from what I've seen, there's substantial evidence there.
Yeah, a lot of help he was. I mean, Bill Barr clearly looking for his next job as an analyst on CBS.
They won't indict if there's not enough evidence. Look at the DA of New York who indicted my father for $130,000, spent hundreds of millions of dollars just shutting down the city to bring him in here, paraded him through a city over a confidentiality agreement, something that's signed every single day in, all across America, with two people, both of whom admitted nothing ever happened. They won't indict? Are you kidding me? They'll indict my father. They always say they can indict a ham sandwich. They'll indict my father for jaywalking. They'll indict my father for going 5 miles an hour over the speed limit. They will make up something to fabricate to indict my father because he's leading the Republican nomination. He's leading the entire field. He's running ahead of DeSantis by 40 points. They know he's going to be the presumptive nominee. They know he's going to be the guy that's going after Biden, who's probably the most disastrous president this nation's ever seen. We're a nation that is in decline. My father says that all the time. We're a nation that's failing on every single front. And now all of a sudden you've got one of the most effective presidents in the history of this country, if not the most effective, who's going to actually plead that case to the American people in a very loud way, which my father can do better than anybody. And they want to take him out of the race because they know none of the other candidates in the Republican field can do so nearly as well. That's what they're trying to do. It's plain simple. They're weaponizing the justice system. They're weaponizing the FBI. We've already seen this before. They've weaponized the DOJ. They're weaponizing local prosecutors, all to go after a person that they don't want to be commander-in-chief of the United States. It's that simple.
Very simple, and you have a right to be fired up and pissed off, frankly, Eric Trump. We really appreciate your time. And again, folks, Trump said it a million times. If they can do it to him, they can do it to any one of us. In fact, they may be after you and me. They just have to go through him first. Eric Trump, thank you for joining us.
Thanks, Eric.